Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. If you've been following along, you already know there have been 8 other videos in the series, and this will be number 9. Now real quickly, I'm going to go through the other 8 to see if I can do it. We had Andrew's 65/66 Mustang. We had Wally's 68 convertible Mustang. We had Greg with his 79 Cortina in Australia. We had Jamel with his 68, I believe, fastback. Then we had Christian with his 67 coupe in Romania. Then we had Ricard with his 69 Mach 1 in Sweden. Then we had Ted with his 68 coupe. And we had Gene with his 66 Mustang coupe, I believe. And now we're going to have a look at Robert's 66 Mustang coupe. So Robert has put together several videos in the attempt to make this happen. He's had some camera issues. We've gone back and forth a little bit. So there may be a few little areas where it may look a little bit shaky, but believe me, it's pretty good. And I'm going to probably have to snip together some of the video, so you'll see. But let's take a look at Robert's project.
Guys, welcome to the shop. Excuse the mess, you know, this last week and all the fun that's been going on. Decided to do a lot of work on the house. So I've been digging stuff out of the shop, working on the house. Yeah, the usual like everybody else. But this is my 66. It has been an interesting project. It started off as a basket case that I bought from a friend that his mother had bought it back. I want to say it was actually like 90, 91, in somewhere in that range. She did a little work. She bought some parts, some of it good parts, some of it bad parts. She did a little work on it. I did some work on it, on some parts and pieces for her here and there. Overall, it just they got over their head in what they could do. They didn't realize how much it was going to take, and yeah, you know the drill. But anyway, so far I've cut off everything in front of the firewall. There was damage that was repaired badly, and it just wasn't worth messing with trying to straighten it out. I spend more time straightening it out than anything else. So right now everything in front is basically new. The only old pieces are the hood latch stuff up there. So far it's not going too badly. This is the first Mustang that I have owned myself. I worked on other ones for other people, but a little different when it's your own. Doing a little modifications to it as well. I have added the convertible inner rockers. Since I got to cut everything off the front, I might as well add those in and strengthen up the floor. There was a nice gaping hole here from a big shifter. Filled that in. The usual damage in the dash around the radio. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to just go with one of those large screen removable type ones that has a separate screen, so you can put Android Auto and all that kind of fun stuff, and it'll just sit in front of that original radio hole, and I'll make a little bezel so it mounts up to it. So basically I won't have to do anything with that. Let's see, quarters, nice chunk of Bondo there. Both quarters on the bottom, not so much rusty on the bottom, but up the pinch welds in that whole area, just, it's like somebody ran this thing through a ditch or something. It's all bent up, torn up. Got some more parts here. I've got front and rear valences here and stone shield. I have the, this is the Dynacorn fiberglass with the steel core hood. It fits okay. The surface finish is extremely poor. It is very wavy, lumpy. It's going to require quite a bit of filler to smooth it out. In some areas I'd really like to remove the fiberglass, but it's so thin that you really can't, so it's going to be interesting. Here are these fenders were not from this car originally. These, and you know, if you look, most people look at them, you can just see from this little bit here, see, oh man, there's no rust. Well, there's not really rust, but there is massive amounts of just damage on these things. So somebody just threw some fenders on here. I could straighten them up, but it's going to take a very long time and a lot of work to do it. I might do it. I'll keep them because the lips were cut out, all that kind of fun. They were really rough, but you know, I'll work on them. It might be usable. This little welder here has been a pretty good welder. I had an old Italian welder before this. I sold it, bought this, got a really good deal on it, and to be honest, it has been extremely good. No complaints whatsoever from it, except that I need to get a much larger argon tank. I'm tired of having to refill this little bottle. So I'm thinking about getting a 300 cubic foot, just set it up in the corner and run a hose. Let's see. Now you have everybody's got to have the pile of baskets full of parts, and that's mine. Some of that is wiring harnesses. Probably I'm going to go all new aftermarket wiring harnesses. So that's a lot of this is going to disappear. A lot of this will find a new home. Oh, and also this radiator came with this was a Modine from the 90s, which I'm going with the later radiator. So, you know, I don't need that either. Now, I always complain about, I don't have enough room in my shop. I don't have enough room in my shop. Well, this thing was $62 because it was damaged to Harbor Freight, and I just really couldn't pass it up. So I've been trying to scrounge up some of my tools and dump them in there. And air tool wise, this is most of what I use. I don't have everything in here yet, but that's most of it. This long cutoff tool, a little skeptical at first, but it is extremely handy. It is very handy, very torquey. And this is I've got some of my clamps in here. I cannot find my really big clamps, so I may have to buy a new one of those. But yeah, you do need all those, and then some more. Factory hood from whatever vehicle it originally came from, who knows. Again, won't be using that. It's like surprisingly in good shape. A little rust around the latch up there, but yeah, easy to fix, and yeah, I'll find a new home for that. Already got brake lines for it. There's a little different angle at it there. Yeah, you've all seen them. It's a Mustang. All right, now in here, yeah, you see where I've had to patch the floor pan. That was pretty rough. It was bent up as well as rusted. The usual cowl issues. I haven't decided what I'm doing cowl wise. I want to get the front end basically in place before I want to get everything lined up in place before I hack into the cowl. I want to have one less thing that I have to, you know, figure out why, get it straightened out, and why is this not lining up? Why is that not lining up? Yeah, just less variables at once. It's more so is just the hats that are bad on mine. So I might take the top off, sandblast the inside, weld on some new hats, put it all back together. I'm not sure yet. Another view from the other side. Yeah. But the convertible rails, inner rockers, they make a huge difference. The one thing I will say is everybody, when you see these, will drill holes through the new rocker and plug weld it from the inside. Don't. It's a royal pain in the butt doing that way. Drill the originals pinch welds, put it in there, and your angles for welding will be so much easier from the outside of the car versus the inside. It's just a pain in the butt to do it the way I did it and the way a lot of other people have done it. Yeah, I've already cleaned up and primed some of the pillars there so I can get the doors basically permanently hung into place. Quarter. Again, this was more damage than anything else. There was quite a large dent above where that little rust spot is, and that rust spot was actually was started out as more damage, from rubbing up against something than it was rust. The outer wheelhouse actually looks really good from what I can see on the inside, so I'm not too worried about that. I can always patch it. I do have a new quarter for this though. The hood was taken off at one point. I've got to, let me see. When they put it on, it's sitting a little bit low. So before I do the quarters, I'll get that trunk lid all lined up like it should be, all looking right, before I start cutting quarters off and doing work to them back there. Speak of the devil, there's brand new quarter in the box right there. Here's the factory rear end as well. I'm going to be going probably with mostly Ford Explorer donor vehicle stuff. So I'm planning on doing the shorten the one axle on the Explorer rear end. You get disc brakes, posi track rear end, the whole 9 yards, all in one rear end, and it's a really good deal for the money. And if you are familiar with Clecos and aircraft tools, these little Cleco clamps are extremely handy. These torque boxes are not. And here's some more of those aircraft tools. And the other aircraft tools, but they are very handy. Interesting story behind all of them, actually. And here's my passenger door. I may end up reskinning it, but since there's nothing going on, don't want to spend any money on stuff, I'm probably going to work on repairing it. You know, worst case is I reskin it or I replace it at some point. No big deal. It had a large dent, a lot of Bondo all the way across here, and there's a bunch of holes, and I'm going to weld those holes up where they pulled the metal out. That's pretty much the only real issue with this door. There's a couple little spots at the front there, and nothing that you can't cut out and re-weld. And I've got a non-matching pair of spindles for it. You can see there's one here, and you can see the other one there as well. That's I was wondering why I was having such a hard time rolling it out of the barn and getting it on the trailer. After I took it apart, I understood why. And I have the ubiquitous Harbor Freight Sandblasting Cabinet. I used to have an older one that had the large container on top for the lights. I have added a whole bunch of LED, strip light to the inside, the stuff you buy for $5 a roll. So it's lit up like a Christmas tree inside. The light that comes with the Harbor Freight's 12 volts, so you just wire it into there. Makes it nice and bright. It's actually a little bit nicer quality, to be honest, than the old one was. I got TIG rods sitting here everywhere, and I just don't have anywhere to put anything right now. Don't have room to get my toolboxes in here, so it just stuff is kind of scattered about. But you can see some of the other toys I've got. And unfortunately, I left my really big headlamp in the house because I was using it up in the attic. Always make sure, oh yeah, Barry, I got you beat on the headlamp. And it makes Barry's kind of look sad, but yeah, it's all right. I don't want to embarrass him too much. And yeah, I had to turn the fridge into a freezer out here because of obvious issues that everybody else is having, so that's why everything's out. All right, next interesting thing about this door, the driver's door, it has a dent on the inside panel from the inside. So only thing I can think of is something hit it. It could have been, when it was in a building, it could have been something that somebody was in the barn. It could have been somebody doing some metal work, slid something across, hit that, bent it in. Not exactly sure how I want to fix it because you're going to lose the texture if I fix that area. So I don't know if I want to replace the whole door or if I just want to patch it. And I don't know. We'll see. Guys, got interrupted by the fire department. Obviously, somebody was burning something somewhere and they couldn't find it, so they come and knocking on the door, asking if I knew anything. Anyway, this is the engine that she bought, and it's a short block, 289 5-bolt. And as you know, I'm going to have no use for it whatsoever. Like I said, the short block was rebuilt right around I would say probably closer to the 2000 or so. And through the heads, through the intake on it, and it's just been sitting ever since. It has not had, it's just sitting. So I don't know what to do with it. We'll find a new home for it at some point. Engine wise, probably going to end up putting a Explorer 302 in it as well. I don't really know, not there yet. Got ideas, who knows? Things change between now and then. But it's getting there. Yeah, that's about all I got.
I don't know how long exactly that Robert has had this car, but I know he mentioned 91, I believe, and so he's been familiar with this car for quite some time. Now he's taken on a project that somebody else started, so we all see that happen, and he's doing really well with it. He's talked about replacing the front frame rails, the aprons, of course, all the associated pieces that go with the front of the car. He's replaced or installed convertible inner rockers. So again, that's going to make the car stiffer. And he's talked about all the other pieces that he's, gathered for the car and taken off the car and, all the stuff that goes along with rebuilding one of these classic Mustangs. He's also pointed out he has a lot of tools, and that's great because you will need a lot of tools typically to do one of these jobs. He also pointed out some interesting tools called plecos. If you haven't heard about them, that's an aircraft tool, usually for reskinning an aircraft, but they come in real handy when working on cars. You can use them as a temporary attachment device to hold panels together. So you may want to look into that, or you may not. I am pretty impressed by how many air tools he has, and of course a drawer full of clamps. You can never have enough clamps. We all know that. I know he pointed out the engine, probably not usable for his application. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do with it, but maybe it'll be available to somebody if they're looking for one of those. So we can communicate about that if we need to. Other than that, I'm looking forward to updates from Robert, and I want to thank him for sharing his video with all of us. If you're interested in being part of this process and you want to have a car featured on Viewers Projects, by all means, send me an email, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. We'll communicate back and forth and try to figure it out and get things, smoothed out so we can do this. I will point out I have 2 other videos that I'll be working on. One of them is a bunch of short little pieces that I'm going to have to put together, so that'll be in the works. And there's another one that is a new Viewers Project as well. And then I also have an update from Ted on his 68 Fastback. So I'll show you that hopefully this coming week. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hit the thumbs up, hit that bell button, keep this channel growing. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Oh, and wash your hands. Stay inside. 6 feet. You know the drill. See ya. If you've been following along, I've had 8 videos so far, and I'm going to try to go through them real quick. We had Andrews with... hey gang, welcome back to another... Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. If you've been following... Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. If you've been following along, there have been 8 other videos in this series. Suspension, everything is going to be new up front. Hey gang, welcome back to another Viewers Projects video. If you've been following along, you'll know that there are 8 other videos in the series, so